All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames. This is episode 17. Welcome to the official off-season of the 2021 calendar year. As you can see here, we are on July 1, set to sign some big free agents. At least we have one big signing to do for sure here in this episode, but maybe a couple more here in free agency. So just quickly, I want to recap, of course, what happened. If you did not watch the episode 16 recap video, then make sure you click on the link in the description below or go back and check it out. What happened in episode 16, of course, is I recorded the entire episode and then realized after I had published it that there was no audio and therefore no microphone audio from my voice, and therefore I had to take it down, and then what I did is I just made a quick, I think it was like 20-some minute recap video. Basically, I just went on my laptop there and just went through the episode of what we happened in the last episode there, the important parts of what happened. Basically, we finished the playoffs. We simmed forward. The Washington Capitals beat the Anaheim Ducks in the Stanley Cup Finals to win their second Stanley Cup in the last 5 years or so. And then we got up to the draft, and we did our draft process, and then we got into the re-signing phase, which is a pretty big re-signing phase for the Calgary Flames. And I don't know if we can show it here. We can go and view contracts for sure. But yeah, no, it was pretty big for the Calgary Flames for sure. Our biggest, I want to go by all skaters here. They might have guys in the system as well. Let me just see here. I'm just trying to see if we can kind of recap what we did in the re-signing phase. We can't really, so I'll just show you what we did. Basically, the biggest thing we got done was Juuso Välimäki. So Välimäki, 86 overall, top 4 potential, or elite medium potential. Top 4 is his role, but just 22 years of age. Look at that age. Juuso Välimäki is an absolute stud. He's going to be a number 1 defenseman in this league for a long time. Such a huge pickup by the Calgary Flames, their first-round pick from 2017. So we did go ahead and lock up Juuso Välimäki for 4 years, which will take him till he is, 26, paying him exactly $7 million flat per season. He was asking for just over $7 million. We got him for just at $7 million flat. So that was the big one. Got him locked up for 4 years. We also went and locked up, where are they here? Dylan Dubé. So we got Dubé locked up. We signed him for 2 years at just 3.15. We did get his contract down, or his salary down a little bit from what he was asking for. But just 2 years for Dylan Dubé, who's still really young as well. 22 years of age as well for Dylan Dubé. A guy that I talked about in the last episode that is just going to be in a third-line role for us. We're not expecting Dylan Dubé to crack our top 6, with Andrew Mangiapane, of course, still in our top 6. We have a pretty stacked top 6. At the end of the recap video in episode 16, we took a look at the lines on my computer here, which I can see right now. Of course, like I said, it's I can't show it to you unless I'm recording off my laptop, which I did in the last video. But you were able to look at what our top 6 look like with Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Tkachuk, Domi, and Mangiapane, and even Michael Backlund, who is not a part of that top 6 officially yet, but could always slide up there. So not a lot of room for Dylan Dubé to move up there. Didn't want to pay him more than what we gave him there at 3.15, because obviously you don't want to be paying him too much more than that as a third liner. But he's going to continue to grow, and it's also made sense that we give him a short-term contract, because then we can see what he's like in the future in 2 years from now. We also signed Oliver Shillington, 3 years, 1.6. I thought that was a pretty good deal. That's what he was asking for. Not bad for our 5th defenseman currently as it stands on the depth chart. Still 79 overall, but again, 24 years of age. Would expect that to grow a little bit. I was hoping he would get to a top 4. He still has top 4 medium potential. I was hoping by the time he hits his prime, he's a top 4 defenseman, which should be in a couple of years, but we'll see. We got him locked up for 3 more years at a pretty reasonable contract. And then finally, before I guess that all happened, we realized our goaltending situation, and this is where things got interesting in the last video. We realized that all of our goalies, with the exception of Artem Zagadulin, were all pending UFAs. So what we did is the first priority with our goaltending was to bring back, let's go to the system here, to bring back Dustin Wolf as a prospect. We actually just signed him to his entry-level contract. Still in the WHL is Dustin Wolf with the Everett Civil Tips. Him and Zagadulin are our goalies of the future. What is Wolf here? I'm just going to take a look. He's 70 overall, 20 years of age. He's going to grow obviously in the WHL and then again into the AHL. Well, Zagadulin currently is. Like I said, he's got 1 year left there, 76 overall. And then we try to get David Riddick signed. Of course, that was the big thing from the last episode. But as mentioned, or as you've seen in that last episode there, if you watched that recap video, again, link in the description below. If you did not watch it though, David Riddick decided he wanted to test a free agent market. So he was asking for just under $5 million for about 4 years. We offered him that, and then he denied it. So we offered him another contract, which was just over $5 million for the 4 years. So we actually upped the price from what he was asking for. He still declined it, and then we had to move forward and sign Juuso Välimäki and our other big pieces that we need to get done, and that meant we did not have enough salary cap space to sign David Riddick. So what we did do is we signed Cam Talbot, who was our backup goalie last year, played really well for us in a backup role and in the entire first round, which we beat the Vancouver Canucks in 5 games when Riddick was injured. Talbot played really well for us despite being in 81. We brought him back for 2 more years at 1.4. Not bad for a backup again. Perfect backup if you ask me. Basically with his numbers and his age and his contract and 81 overall. I think that's a perfect backup right there. But yes, it sucked that we lost David Riddick for sure. The fact that he wanted to test free agency, and like I said, we had to move forward and sign our other players. We could not wait on Riddick, and I didn't want to go too much more than that. So you can see at the very bottom there, again, hard to see, but at bottom of the screen, cap space is $3.02 million. So that is what we have to work with now that the re-signing phase is done. We got about $3 million to work with. Obviously, like I said at the end of that last video, that's not going to be enough to get it done. I'm not going to go through our depth chart again because I did in the last video, and I want to start getting ready into the offseason here. But the big holes were obviously 4th line center. We need to fill our 13th forward spot as a depth part. And then we need to fill our starting goaltending. But the starting goaltending is going to eat up a lot of salary. So we might just jump right in here, right away into the free agency. I don't know why I just clicked on calendar. Jump right into free agency. But yeah, we're going to need more than $3 million alone, minimum, to get a starting goalie. I'm thinking around $5 million minimum to get a starting goalie, and I'll show you here in a second. But probably need more. So basically what I'm trying to say is we're going to need to make some trades before we even do anything here in this episode. So I just want to show you what we're looking at for goalie. So again, here is the free agency among players. The biggest thing is Alex Ovechkin is out there. So the Washington Capitals go and they win the Stanley Cup. They win their 2nd Stanley Cup, like I said, in the last 5 years with Alex Ovechkin as their captain, and then they decide not to re-sign him. Either that or Ovechkin just decides to test free agency, which is very, very unlikely. Realistically, Ovechkin at 35 years of age would not, after winning 2 Stanley Cups with Washington, he's played his whole career, he would not go to free agency. If anything, he would go back to Russia to play out the rest of his career. He would not go to a different team. He would stay with Washington for the rest of his NHL tenure. But for some reason in this game, they have him win free agency, which is absolutely bizarre because he is an absolute franchise player. Probably, other than Connor McDavid, I don't know if there would be a bigger player to hit the free agent market in this game. So I'm not sure why he is there. He's asking for obviously for almost $10 million there. For what is he asking for? Just 1 year. Wow, he really wants to just test a different market there. Obviously he's not chasing a Stanley Cup. It would make a lot of sense if Washington had not won the Stanley Cup up till this point. Then maybe, yeah, at 35 years of age, Ovechkin is chasing the cup. But for some reason he's out there, so whatever. Anyways, I just thought that was amusing. One team already interested in Ovechkin. But then you can see after that, Chase on 84. We got Michael Frolik, the former Flame. A couple former Flames here actually. 85. I don't know why Frolik is gone up there. But then you can see, there's a few players here. Like there's some good 2nd line players here, and there's a lot of decent 3rd line players here. I know there are a lot of them are listed as 2nd, but they're more 3rd line players on a contending team. Some decent players out here in depth roles. The only absolute steal is our superstars, Alex Ovechkin, obviously, or even top line player. And then you start to get into some 4th line players, and there's a lot of top 4 defensemen out there as well. So free agency interesting this year, but of course we're not focusing on that. Like I said, when it comes to our forward and defense, first of all, our defense is really stacked again. We have Hanifin and Välimäki anchoring our top unit. Giordano, who's still an elite defenseman in this game, with Anderson on that 2nd unit. Our top 4 is really stacked. Then we got Hamnick and Shillington on that 3rd pairing. And we even got Schlemko and Nielsen. Now, we'll talk about the trade situation here in a second, but we're pretty stacked on defense. We're fine on the back end. Forwards are fine. I just told you our top 6 there at the beginning of this episode. Our top 6 is fine. We could use a little bit of depth in our bottom 6. I'm just looking at it right now. We still have to sign Sam Bennett, who's a pending RFA. If we don't get him signed, then we need a third line left winger. But we'll try and sign him. Backlund and Dubé, the other guys on that third line, which is fine. And then we just need to fill a fourth line spot, which we had Mark Jankowski, and we released him to free agency, so he's in here somewhere. And then, like I said, I would like to get a 13th forward. So just a couple fourth line players, some depth players in our bottom six. That shouldn't be too hard to find in this pool for sure. But our biggest thing this offseason will be goaltending. So that's why we are going to jump right into goalies here. That is going to be our big signing. Now, I'm going to show you the trade screen in a second, because I did go through each team and see every goalie in the league and see what our options would have been in there for goalies. If we could trade for goalies, I know a lot of times you don't want to overpay for a goalie in free agency, but I actually looked at all the goalies available, and there was some decent goalies that we could use as backup plans. Not decent goalies, but goalies that are about 85, older goalies. I'll show you in a second here. But I just want to show you quickly, before we get into that, what we're looking at for the free agency pool. So there's David Riddick down here. But first, Pekka Rinne, who is still an elite goalie. He's 38 years of age. He only wants 1 year, 6'4". Nobody's taken him yet. That is, I mean, that's not all. I don't know. That I find that's a lot to pay for a 38-year-old goaltender. It would only be for 1 year, because that's all he wants. Let's just look at here. Pekka Rinne. Yes, he's 88. This one's intriguing because, if you pay him what he's asking for at 6.4 and you get him, I mean, he could help you win a Stanley Cup. The only problem is then you're in this exact same position again next year. Which could be an option. What I like more, though, is there's Robin Leonard asking for 5.3 at 86. But there's David Riddick, who's just asking for $5 million flat for 6 years, though. He does want 6 years. When we were in the re-signing phase, he was only asking us for 4 years. Like I said, Riddick just had a really good last couple of seasons for us. He's been really solid for us. I would have been really comfortable going forward with David Riddick for sure, and winning a Stanley Cup with this guy in our net. So I mean, we could always explore Riddick. There's also this guy here, Jordan Binnington. Of course, just won the Stanley Cup, the St. Louis Blues, just a few years prior. 86, still pretty young, or I guess just 1 year younger than Riddick at 27. But 86 and asking only for 4.9. So I think this is the guy we'll go after first, is Jordan Binnington. And then just because, I mean, he's asking for a little bit less than Riddick, and he's one better in the overall category. And then we'll probably still try and go after Riddick as well. Like I said, Rinne's the interesting one, but that's just a gamble for 1 year. I don't want to be back in. I wouldn't mind getting a goalie, locked up to give us, a good window to win here. Don't forget, next year we have guys like Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Mark Giordano. We have quite a few big names that I think Mangiapane maybe. We have quite a few big names that need to be re-signed. So no, I think it's Domi. It's Domi. Yeah. So a lot of big names that need to be re-signed out there. When it comes to the free agency. So I don't know if we want to be mixing in a starting goalie again next year with all that's going on. We're going to try and sign some of those guys now that it is July 1. We can start to try and sign some of those guys and throughout the season. But like next year, I think we're going to have quite a bit on our plate, so I don't want to worry about a goalie. Just looking at some other guys here now, like go by overall. Devin Dubnik's there at 86. I mean, so there is options here. I definitely wouldn't mind getting like a Binnington or a Riddick before gambling on some of these older guys who are still good but don't have a lot of years left in them. We have options, which is nice, which is definitely nice. Now, like I said, you can see what the minimum is going to be for a goalie. It's at least $5 million. Like Riddick's asking for $5 million, or I guess Binnington's asking for like 4.9, but you're going to have to up that. So minimum is $5 million you're going to need for a goalie. Probably more. We should give ourselves a little bit more leeway just in case we want to up it, or we're in a bit of a dogfight for a goalie with another team. So we're going to have to make some trades here. So let's go to the trade screen here. This is where we'll begin the episode here in episode 17. But I want to just quickly just show you this. There's also some options in the trade screen as well. When you just even go by goalies here. Now, realistically, if guys we could go after, you obviously can't go after a guy like John Gibson. I can't even remember where I saw it. I was actually surprised by how many teams don't have a legit starting goalie going forward here. That kind of surprised me a little bit. Let me just see here. So if we go down to Dallas, there's Bishop. Again, I'm looking for somebody with a lower trade value that we could maybe get Not goalie Bob. It's older goalies. Here's the one, Jonathan Quick. So Jonathan Quick's 85 overall, 5.8 million, which is almost 6 million for just 2 years left. That's not bad. And look at that trade value. That's not bad either. Like, we could make that happen. Now, the Kings don't want to give away Quick, but we, for 2 more years at 35, if he stays at an 85, that's not bad. But I think we're going to try free agency first before we try and gamble on some of these older goalies here. Like I said, there's also older goalies in the free agency pool that we could take shots at as well that are, got, like Pecorine, for example. He just wants 1 year. Wouldn't be a bad gamble. Like I said, I just don't want to put ourselves in that same position again next year if we don't have to. I mean, so let's go down here. UC Saros. I thought there's Mackenzie Blackwood, who's younger. His trade value is a little bit higher. I don't think we'd be able to make that work here. Semyon Varlamov is another one. It's kind of a low trade value, 85 as well, 5 million flat for 2 years. So there's guys like that out here. Worst comes to worst, we can always do that if we get nothing in free agency. But we'll try that. So, we'll try free agency first, I should say. But anyways, like I said off the top, before we can do anything, we have to clear some cap space. So again, click on our team here, 3.02. That is our salary cap space. We need at least 5 million minimum, at least. So we're gonna have to move some roster players out here. So I talked about in the beginning of the end of the last episode, the recap video. We have some players we can move out here. So we go by contracts here. Yeah, so I mean, obviously none of these guys we're going to touch. Giordano, we're going to let him play out. Like I said, he's still an elite defenseman. Yes, he only has 1 year left at 6.7. Obviously, if we sign him again to another contract, it won't be worth that much. He's 37 years of age. He's going to significantly decline probably this season and in the following couple seasons. But right now he's still an elite defenseman. We can't get rid of him. So we're not going to get rid of any of these guys. These guys are really all of our core. But when you get down here, the biggest name that jumps off that is expendable is Travis Hamonic. He is currently penciled in as our 6th defenseman on that third pairing with Oliver Shillington. I talked about how I really, really, really don't want to lose Hamonic because he's our only defensive defenseman on our defensive core. He is so big for us, in the defensive category. He blocks shots. He does everything. He's on the PK. Look at his defensive stats there. 88 defensive awareness, 90 and 90. I don't want to lose this guy at all, but he's our only option. The only other one was Elias Lindholm, but I don't want to lose Lindholm right now either. He's still part of our top 6. Yes, he hasn't been super good last year, or the last couple of years in the playoffs. In the regular season, he's hitting 50 points every year, which is all you can ask from a second line right winger. I guess he's been playing on our top line, but he spent quite a bit of time, switching lines there last season at least. But it's more his playoff stats. So again, here's his stats from the last couple seasons. 57 points last year, 55 the year before. Yes, that's down from that incredible year where he hit 78, but it's more the playoff stats here. Like I said, -5 this year, which is 4 points in 12 games. Just 4 points the year before that in 8 games. I want more out of Lindholm and Tkachuk throughout the season, and then especially in the playoffs. But right now, we're not going to give up on them, especially Tkachuk, but Lindholm as well. 26 years of age. He's probably going to plateau, but at 86, which is fine. But right now, we're going to keep him. He's on a reasonable contract too, 4.8 for 3 years. That's pretty good. So the biggest one is Hamonic. I mean, there's really nobody else here that we just signed Dubé. We have to sign Bennett. We just signed Shillington. Mangiapane still young. Anderson. We can't trade any of these guys away. So, when you look at by salary cap, the only one that makes sense is Shillington. Or Hamonic, 4.2 would be a lot to free up. Like if we could get rid of 4.2, obviously that would give us over 5 million. That'd be what, like closer to 6, 7, 8.2 million, which we would have to work with. And there's another guy we can get rid of, but there's Hamonic there. The other one here is David Schlemko. Schlemko. So we just signed Nielsen, but Schlemko is currently penciled in as our 7th defenseman. We can get a 7th defenseman at 78 overall, a lot cheaper than 1.4 million. We can easily go in free agency and get a 7th defenseman, basically a starting AHL defenseman for under $1 million. So that's all I want to pay is our defenseman in the American League, or our 7th defenseman, under $1 million. Obviously, when we're that tight with cap, like the Flames are right now, we can't be paying our 7th defenseman 1.4, almost $1.5 million. So we're going to get rid of David Schlemko. I think we even just picked him up from waivers, to be honest, in the last season. I can't even remember where he came from. I'll have to look back. But we're going to get rid of Schlemko for sure, and we have to get rid of big contract, so we have to get rid of Hamnick. He's the only one that makes sense. Again, at the end of the last episode, we looked at our depth chart. When you look at the depth chart, it makes we're pretty stacked on defense, so it makes a lot of sense for Hamnick. So what I'm going to do is going to explore some trades here, trade options, and then see a team that we can trade with, and then I'll come back here with a potential trade. So give me a second. All right, so we're back here. So I just basically I just kept going here until I found a team that's not in our division and not in our conference that is interested in both players. And I was actually surprised to find out that we could the trade value, I should say, is quite high for. I guess for Travis Hamnick. David Schlemko doesn't have a high trade value, but Hamnick's got a pretty decent trade value. And I was just looking here at the draft picks here, and it looks like we could probably even get a first-round pick back for both Hamnick and Schlemko. That could be huge. In fact, we probably could even try and get a little bit more than just a first-round pick. Like, look at the trade value there at the bottom of the screen. That's not bad. So that would be huge because we'd be dumping, like over $5 million in salary right here between these two players to go to our already $3 million that we have to work with. And we would be acquiring a huge trade chip in a first-round pick, or if we decide to keep it. So that would be huge if we can get a first. Let's see if we can get anything else with it. I don't know, if maybe we could get a first and a second. Does that look even? We can try that, a first and a second for Hamnick and Schlemko, see what they say. They're going to reject that one. Why don't we try a first and a third? I wouldn't mind trying to get a little bit more than just a first if we can. So we'll try this, a first and a third. And it's still rejected. So we are saving salary to sign our pending free agent. So they're not actually interested in taking on these players. So I didn't see that the first time. Sorry. All right, that's fine. We will move on to the next team. So I just wanted, Florida was the first team that was not in our conference or division. Nashville, in our conference, they can't really do it. Jersey could, so we could try getting some picks back from Jersey. Looks like Jersey, we might just get a first. First and a second would be too much. Can we go first and Vegas is third from Jersey? You've done well meeting our block needs, but what you're sending, okay, so we probably can't get a, they don't want to give away their first. Oh well. We can try getting our third round pick back instead of Vegas's, and I still want that first in there though. Still want to at least get a first, so we can try that. No, that one's still going to be rejected, so I thought I had a trade here on the table. So we just try a first and like a fourth. You can give us a fourth-round pick from Minnesota. Still rejected, so I don't think they want to give away the first. We'll try another team here. The Islanders, the Rangers, not interested in Schlemko. Senators, there's the Flyers. They're kind of up against the cap. The Pens are kind of up against the cap. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay might be able to get it done. So we can try Tampa's first and see if we can get something out here. Try a second, see what they say to a first and a second. And that's accepted. So there you go. We got a first and a second from Tampa Bay. We accept your offer. We'll see you out there on the ice for Travis Hamnick and David Schlemko. So we end up dumping over $5 million into the Eastern Conference. Don't have to worry about seeing Hamnick and Schlemko because they are on an Eastern Conference team. And I'm really happy for, like I said, for Travis Hamnick. He is getting to play out the rest of his career, contract, at least, in a really good destination in Tampa Bay. Tax-free as well, I believe. And we dump a lot of salary there, so that's huge for us. So let's take a look. So we got $7 million to work with. So I thought we had a little bit more because we dumped $5 million there. Plus we had $3 million, so I thought we'd have about $8 million. But I think we're still maybe paying some what's it called? Injured, not injured reserve. Some, I forget what it's called. Salary to players that we traded from before. Anyways, let's take a look here. So this is a look at our draft pick selection now. So you can see a first, 2 seconds, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. So we actually had all of our picks, plus we add Tampa's first and we add Tampa's second. So that is a huge haul. Like I said, we'll see what Tampa does this season if they're near the top. But even so, just to get a first-round pick, that's a huge trade chip for us that we can trade away along with our first-round pick. Because don't forget, we're going to be a cup contender again this year. Plus 2 seconds. Like, we have a lot of trade chips there. It doesn't mean we have to trade the first and the seconds, but that is a lot of room to work with. So I'm really happy to see that we were able to get a first and a second. I mean, like I said, I didn't think Hamnick had such a high trade value. but he is a good defensive defenseman. Like in real life, he should have a higher trade value than maybe what he is worth, because he is a decent defensive defenseman. He brings a lot to to your team that maybe you just don't see in his stats alone. So really happy, obviously, with the fact that I think that's a steal that we got first and a second for Hamnick and Schlemko, who was on an expiring contract. And like I said, we picked up David Schlemko off of waivers, and Hamnick was he had 2-3 years left. So that is a huge trade for us. So now, like I said, that what that does is that opens up a lot of options for us. We have about $7 million to work with. We can bring in a starting goalie for sure for $7 million here, and then we can try and go after some depth players. Like I said, we still have to sign Sam Bennett. We have to get a fourth line center. We now have to fill our fifth defensive row as well, because Nielsen is now that we've lost Hamnick. I'm just going to do it here on my lines here. Now that we've lost Hamnick, Nielsen is technically our sixth defenseman at 76. Not good enough, so we will have to go out there and get a defenseman. So now, like I said, let's try Jordan Binnington first. So Binnington, of course, like I said, 27 years of age, just asking for about $5 million. We're going to have to up that though. So I'm wondering what we can work here for a contract. So the other team interested is Edmonton. I forgot if we looked at that or not. But obviously, we don't want Edmonton to get Binnington over us. So he wants 4 years at 4.9. What should we up that to? Like, this is going to be tough. I'm thinking maybe 5.5. That's... if we get Binnington, that'd be good for 5.5. Like I said, he's 27 years of age, 4 years. That'll take him into his early 30s to at least 31. Yeah, I think 5 points, because I don't know how much Edmonton's going to up it. Let's go 5.5. I think that will get it done. Again, there could be other teams that come in. So basically trying to give him 0.5 more from what he's asking for. He is asking for 4.9. So let's try 5.5 for 4 years. We'll try that, offer him that contract. I'm wondering if we should offer Riddick a contract now as well, as he is our second option here. Obviously, we can't get both, but we can try giving Riddick $5 million for 6 years as a backup plan. 6 years is a lot for Riddick. Like I said, in the re-signing phase, I would have been fine with 4 years, but he does want 6 years. I'm just trying to think here. What if we upped him to about 5.3? Let's go 5.3 for Riddick for 6 years. So we'll try two goalies here, our two number one choices, like I said. If these guys do not work out, then we start to look at some of the older goalies. Let's just, again, go by overall here. So yeah, we can try... Like I said, I don't know if I want to come back to Rene just for 1 year. Obviously, we're not going to give Robin Leonard 6 years because he's at 29 years of age. Dubnyk just wants 1 year. 2 years. We could try Dubnyk. Lundqvist is 39. I really think he's going to drop off this year. We could try Devin Dubnyk. He's a Calgary native. We could try him at 86 if this doesn't work. There's one team interested in Dubnyk. Let's see. He's asking for just 3.2, so that's not bad. But only 2 years. Chicago is interested in Devin Dubnyk. So yeah, I think we'll try Dubnyk here if we don't get Riddick or Binnington. The only problem here is I think as soon as one of these guys signs, the rest of them will pick their destination as well. So by the time we figure out Binnington and Riddick, guys like Dubnyk might be gone, especially since there's teams interested in them. But like I said, we got other options. We got some older goalies. Like I said, worst comes to worst, we can try Pekka Rinne for a year, or we can try some of the guys in the trade screen. But let's try that. Let's try offering both Jordan Binnington and David Riddick. Let's hope we get one of them. If we get two of them, we're gonna have to flip one of them. Obviously, we can't be paying, or we wouldn't have the salary to sign both of them anyway. So it would be whoever we sign first. So obviously, let's just hope to get one of them. We'll try Binnington first, and then we'll try Riddick. We can't make any signings right now on our depth forwards. We really got to see what we've got in salary after we sign our starting goalie. We might only have a couple million to work with to sign. Sam Bennett, we have to sign a 6th defenseman. We have to sign a 12th and 13th forward. So again, a couple guys that we can probably get for just around under $1 million, to fill those final spots. Again, we'll take a look at it here in a second. So let's advance the day here. There is an incoming trade. They want to send us some draft picks and Sabatka. We don't want to take on any more salary right now from Columbus. We'll decline that trade here. So nothing so far on the opening day of free agency. Let's try another day here. Oh, nothing so far. We'll try one more day and then go back and look. We'll go to the 4th of July here. Shit, nothing. All right, so this is they're really holding out both Binghamton and there's only one team interested in Ovechkin and Riddick. Sorry. So we'll go back to goalies here. Let's see if anybody moved. It does not look like it. It looks like we still have. Oh my God! Look at the teams interested in Riddick and Binghamton. All right, we might be in trouble here. 5 teams interested in David Riddick. 4 teams interested in Jordan Binghamton. All we can do now is hope that these guys pick a destination that they want to go to. I'm wondering if we should offer Dubnyk a contract now as well. I mean, this is insane to be offering so many guys contracts. We only can get one of them, like I said, because of the salary. So we should try being aggressive right now. So still technically $7 million to work with. So let's offer Dubnyk, again, 35 years of age at 86. If he can stay 86 for 2 years, that's perfect. 2 years is nice to work with. It's better than 1 year. We'll try and really up Dubnyk's contract. Let's try going up to something like even closer to 5 million here. In fact, you know what? Let's try 5 million flat here. We'll offer Dubnyk 5 million flat. I think that's a good contract. Again, just 2 years. Just trying to think here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do 5 million flat for 2 years for Devan Dubnyk. We need to get one of these goalies, obviously. So we have to obviously make these offers. So we now have 3 goalies that we have offered over 5 million to on contracts. We've offered Jordan Binghamton 4 years, obviously, and Dubnyk, who is wanting 2 years, and David Riddick, who's wanting 6 years. Like I said, it's what, 5.5 for Jordan Binghamton, 5 million flat for Dubnyk, and 5.3 for Riddick. So, like, I mean, we've upped the price on all 3 of these guys. We have to get one of these guys. That's what it comes down to. Again, look at some of the other guys. Like Pecorine still doesn't have teams interested in him. Henrik Lundqvist. These guys are really old, though. Definitely kind of wanted to avoid getting those guys. The only other guy there is Robin Leonard, but he's asking for about 5.3 as a starting salary. We would have to up that probably closer to 6 million to compete with the other 3 teams interested. And then, like I said, the only other 2 goalies is Henrik Lundqvist and Pecorine, who are both older goalies, of course. Just wanted to. I guess we never really did look at the stats here of all of our goalies, but not that it's going to matter too much. There's Binghamton, Devan Dubnyk there as well. Still very solid numbers again for Devan Dubnyk at 35 years of age, and then we know what David Riddick's stats are. So yeah, let's try that here. We're on the 4th of July. See if we can get one of these guys to become a member of the Calgary Flames. We need a starting goalie. We have to spend the money to get our starting goalie now. Like I said, we know what the scenario is when it comes to the trade screen and with some of our other goalies there as well. So let's just take a quick look here, or do a quick sim here and see if we can get one of these goalies in a Calgary uniform. Will it be Riddick? Will it be Binghamton? Or will it be Devan Dubnyk? At the end of the day, I just want a starting goalie. So here we go. We're around the time, 4 days in, about to be 5 days in. This should start to be the time that these guys are starting to make their decision. So here we go. Let's go to the 5th of July, and there's a trade alert. This one is Detroit and Washington. Detroit is acquiring a first and a second for Coyle and Nielsen. So kind of similar to what we did with dumping Hamnick and Schlemko for a first and a second. I still can't believe that was a really good trade for us. So here we go. 5th of July, and now there's an incoming trade. LA wants to send us a 3rd and a 5th for Wolf and a 3rd. Basically sending us a 5th round pick for Dustin Wolf. Who is a top goalie prospect. So we'll obviously decline that. Here we are on the 5th, still nothing in the goalie market. So obviously none of the 3 guys that we are going after have signed yet. Let's go one more day here to the 6th, and there it is. David Riddick has decided to go with the Carolina Hurricanes, so he appreciates your interest, but decided to go with another team. So the end of an era for David Riddick, and the Calgary Flames officially no longer a member of the Calgary Flames after, 4 or 5 good years in this organization, especially the last 2 or 3 as a starting goalie with us. He wants to You simply have not offered enough dollars, really. Okay, we offered you 5.3 million for your 6 years, but you know what? Like I said with Riddick, the one thing I did not like, Riddick was the perfect goaltender for us. I think his stats back that up the last 2 seasons with us. The one thing is I just did not like the 6-year term that he was asking for at 28 years of age. Didn't have a problem paying him 5.3 or even more, even if I had to pay him 5.5 or something more than that, closer to 6. I just didn't want to give him that 6 years. Carolina obviously offers him 6 years and probably a little bit more money. So we'll go into Carolina and see exactly what the contract is. But good for David Riddick. He is now a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's down to Binghamton and Dubnyk. Here we go. And Devin Dubnyk has decided to go to Chicago. Crap. So he stays in the Central Division. He appreciates the decision, but he's going to go with another team at this time. Simply did not offer him enough money, even though we upped his salary ask to $5 million when he was just asking for 3 point something. So we offered him even $1 million and however many more than what he was asking for, and he still decides to go to Chicago Blackhawks. So I don't know if Chicago just really upped the price even more than $5 million. They must have, but we lose out on Devin Dubnyk, again 36 years of age. So the last hope is Jordan Binnington. He has not made a decision yet, but he could make a decision right here. If we do not get Binnington, then we could be in trouble here, because we just went for 3 different goalies, and if we don't get either of them, this is going to be really bad. So we'll explore our options, but let's see. I'm hoping we get Binnington. All right, here we go. There it is. We do have Jordan Binnington. Yes, I was extremely happy to accept your offer. Your cash offer was most generous, and it was really quite an easy decision to make up, Brian. So the Calgary Flames have officially got themselves a Stanley Cup champion goaltender at just 27 years of age. Jordan Binnington is now a member of the Calgary Flames. Can you believe it? Calgary. That is incredible. So I was hoping we get at least one of them. Like I said, it came down to we offered Binnington 5.5 when he was asking for 4.9 something. And let's go to a trade screen here. So we offered him 5.5 when he was asking 4.9. So we didn't offer him, so there you can see we got 2.46 to work with here. We didn't offer him a lot more than what he was asking for. Really, we only offered him 0.5 million more than what he was asking for. But I think what it comes down to for Jordan Binnington, and it's nice to see that this is in the game now. It's not just about the richest contract, but I think maybe what helped Binnington's decision was the fact that we are a Stanley Cup contending team, and he wants to win. Again, 27 years of age, he's in his prime now. Yes, he's already won a Stanley Cup, but I mean, who doesn't want to continue to win at that age? We're also paying him a decent price, but I'm sure he probably could have got a little bit more money out there on the open market. But does choose the Calgary Flames. For example, Devin Dubnyk. We offered him a lot more than what we offered Jordan Binnington when it comes to what they were asking for and what we were going to offer them. Same with David Riddick even. I think we went up to 5.3, and he was asking for 5. I guess we didn't go up that much more. That was only 0.3, and we offered Binnington 0.5. But anyways, doesn't make a difference. Jordan Binnington is a member of the Calgary Flames. So the second team ever that he plays for after playing his entire career at St. Louis. He now comes over to the Calgary Flames. Actually, we can look at his stats here. So there you can see his last 3 years with the St. Louis Blues, obviously winning in his rookie year, the Stanley Cup there. But look at those numbers in the last 3 seasons since winning that Stanley Cup. So 926 in that Stanley Cup year, 906, 906. So drops off a little bit from that good year, but he also went up in games played to 66 and 64. So he played a significant amount of games for St. Louis the last couple of years and still is able to put up over 900 save percentage, 3.0 goals against there, 289 goals against in this past season in 64 games, 29, 29, and 4. Doesn't look like maybe St. Louis was having the best record even the year before, 29, 28, and 6. So about 500 in both of those years. Maybe St. Louis wasn't as strong as a team as they were when they won the Stanley Cup. So that's why he's decided to come over to the Calgary Flames. Just want to look at his playoff stats here because this is where it matters. He goes 9-1-3 last year through 26 games. So, that's 18-19. That's the year he won the Cup. So actually, the Blues being 500 did not make the playoffs the last 2 years. So that's not a surprise. So he actually has not played in a playoff game since he lifted the Stanley Cup as a rookie goaltender for the St. Louis Blues. So hopefully his next playoff game with the Calgary Flames will lead him back to a Stanley Cup championship. But yeah, that could be a big reason why. And again, that's nice to see in this game. A big reason why he decided to leave and not re-sign in St. Louis is because they're not as strong as a contending team as they were when they won. And I mean, even when they won, they weren't one of the strongest teams in the regular season. They kind of made it from being dead last and moving in. And then, like I said, he just decides he wants to go to a team that is a strong team and is winning now. So that is us. That's the Calgary Flames, and we have Jordan Binnington, 906 there. That is perfect. 86 overall, like I said, 27 years of age. He is one better than what Rittich is and a year younger than Rittich. So I think this is an upgrade for the Calgary Flames over David Rittich, even though it really did suck to lose David Rittich. I just want to see what the Hurricanes offered him. So look at this. The Hurricanes offering him just 5.25. Again, we offered Rittich, 5.3. So again, this just shows you it's not all about the money. We actually offered Rittich just a little bit more money than what the Hurricanes are paying Rittich. Still on that 6-year term. We offered him 6 years as well. But yeah, it really comes down. It's nice to see that in the game. I got to applaud EA Sports for that, because before it used to be whoever could pay you the richest contract, that's where the player or goalie would go. But now these players and goalies are starting to factor in actual places they want to go in terms of winning. Like in terms of Rittich's case here, he doesn't even want to go to Carolina because they're a contending team. We're a better team than Carolina is, but he wants to go there because he wanted a fresh start. Maybe he wanted something different, and realistically, some players want that. So I like to see that in the game. I like to see that he wants to go somewhere he wants to go, and Binnington wants to go somewhere he can win, and then the cash is still a factor in it. So that is a good way to start off free agency for the Calgary Flames. Like I said, I was really hoping we get one of them. Binnington was our first choice. Rittich was our second choice. Dubnyk our third choice, and then we had backup plans after that. But happy to see it worked out with Jordan Binnington for sure. So massive ad. Obviously, that's our big move here in free agency. We have $2.6 million to work with now to fill a few holes. So what I'm going to do here is just bring up my line screen here. So now we have Binnington in there, so we have to fill a fourth line center. We still have to sign Sam Bennett on our third line left wing. We have to fill our sixth defenseman spot. And that is it. Yeah. So let's go back into free agency here. Like I said, 2 point some to work with here. Not too bad. Like I said, most of these fourth line centers, six defensemen, we can probably get for under a couple, or under $1 million for sure. So now it's a lot weaker here. I wanted to see where Alex Ovechkin went. That's the other thing. We can look at that later. Not important right now. We'll have to remember to do that after. So let's look here. And we are by all players. So let's go by overall here. So still a few players left out here in free agency. I'm not too worried about the other goalies here. So yeah, what are we looking here? We're looking for a fourth line center. So why don't we go by centerman? There's Sam Bennett, so you might try offering Sam Bennett a contract now. He's asking for $2 million. We do have his rights because he's still an RFA. But obviously, with just having 2.46 to work with, I'm obviously not going to offer him $2 million. Excuse me. He just wants 1 year again to test things out, to come back. Tough. This is tough. You know what? Ooh. How much do we want to pay Sam Bennett to come back? I mean, the problem is that we don't bring him back, then we have a hole on our third line left wing, where he would currently occupy. Just 80 overall. Bennett is now 25 years of age. Top 6 low potential. He's probably going to plateau pretty soon at 80. So meaning he won't get much better. He's kind of now like a fourth liner. Really, he shouldn't even be on the third line. Let's come back to Bennett. Because really, I feel like, there's a lot of guys that we get cheaper even, because he's more of a fourth liner at this point in his career. So let's keep looking here for some guys that are asking for just under $1 million. Here is Eric Rodriguez, 79 overall. It's not bad for a fourth line center. Don't forget we're working with Colin Wilson, 79, and Christopher Stieg, 78 on our fourth line. I forget which Wilson that is. 79 and 78. So if we got Rodriguez in here, that wouldn't be bad. There's Jankowski asking for 1.7, who we had in that spot last year. Obviously, we cannot offer Jankowski that. Let's see who else we have down here that we could offer. We get some guys, Jan Hayden, who's at 78. Tom Nosek, who is also 78. So we can try some of these guys that are under $1 million. But lots of options for guys that are like 78 here. I don't want to get down any lower than that. Let's try Rodriguez because he is 79. That's not a bad fourth line center. Where are we here? Evan Rodriguez. So there is there one other team interested in him? Yeah, Pittsburgh's interested in him. Yeah, but I don't want to offer him any more than that, so we'll offer him what he's asking for, 975. Yeah, 975 for 1 year. Like I said, we have some other options out there. There's Derek Ryan, another former Calgary Flame. So that is that. We can worry about the 13th forward spot at the end, for sure. We'll definitely get like a 78 or 77 guy to fill our 13th forward spot over Matthew Phillips, who's, like I said, still 74. Next, what we have to do here is find our 6th defenseman. That's the next biggest thing. 4th line center and 6th defenseman. That's the next biggest thing to fill. And then we have to fill that Sam Bennett spot. But let's get somebody to play with Shillington here on the third pairing. Excuse me. Just looking here. All right. We need another guy that's going to be somewhat cheap. A lot of guys asking for over $1 million. We can get Carl Gunnarsson, who is a 79. Still top 6 is his role. What Shillington, I believe, is left shot, so we need a right shot defenseman here, if possible. Gunnarsson is left shot. What kind of a defenseman is he? He is a defensive defenseman, which would fill the role of Travis Hamonic. So I don't mind those stats, 85, 89, and 87 in the defensive category. He's not going to be Travis Hamonic, but that's not a bad replacement for Travis Hamonic. Asking for just 1 year at $700K, that's not a bad contract. I can even give you $800K. Just up it a little bit. That's not a bad contract. Defensive defenseman. Yes, he's 34. He's just asking for 1 year. Just a guy to come in and fill our 6th defenseman spot. And like I said, to kind of replace a little bit of what Travis Hamonic did. And he fills the same role as a defensive defenseman. So let's offer Gunnarsson that. No other team's interested in him. But I really do want Carl Gunnarsson after looking at his stats there. So, yeah, we'll see what we got there, and then we can see what we have left over for Sam Bennett. I guess we maybe should try offering Bennett a contract. So let's go down here. There's Sam Bennett there. Oh, I just skipped down on Bennett there. Go back to center. Where's Bennett? My goodness. I'm going right over him. There we go. So let's offer Sam Bennett. I mean, I could go 1.5. See if we can do that. 1.5 for 1 year. And let's go from there. We'll just try and fill these final few holes, and then that will end free agency for us there. And then we might just autofill a 13th defenseman. So Rodriguez appreciates the interest. He's decided to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins, so that sucks. I thought he would have been a decent 4th line centerman, and for fairly cheap. All right, incoming trade here. We'll decline that. Nothing yet on Gunnarsson and Sam Bennett. We do need to go back and look at a 4th line center. All right, so let's try. Again, trying guys that are, I wonder if we could like get a, we probably won't get a Bozak, but if we can get one of these guys, yes, they're asking for more, but there's nobody else interested in them, like a Nick Bonino, even a Nick Bonino for like $1 million. I know he's asking for 1.6, but if we can get him for $1 million flat, for 2 years, we know how good he can be in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yes, 39 years of age. That's not too bad, $1 million. He'll consider his options. We should get a couple guys here though. Casey Ciziquez, we can try him as well. Pretty much the exact same thing as Bonino. We'll go $1 million flat for 2 years as well. See if one of these guys will bite. Okay, and we can even try Sean Corrali as well. There's actually another team interested in him. Nobody interested in Jankel. There's Riley Nash. He's a 78. We could try Nash. Again, nobody else interested in him. These guys, I'm just going to go $1 million flat and hope one of them take it. He's asking for just 1 year. So we'll try 3 different guys there at 4th line center spot. Sam Bennett as well. Like I said, we won't get all of these guys because we just don't have the salary space. But I guess the first guy, or even the first 2 guys, that would fill our 13th forward spot. And if we can still get Carl Gunnarsson as well in there, that would be huge. So let's just keep advancing days here. We're on the 7th of July, 8th of July. Come on, we need some of these guys to respond. 9th of July. Come on, 10th of July. So there it is. Sam Bennett has decided to reject the offer. That's not enough money. All right, we'll have to really look at that 3rd line left wing spot then. We could even do a trade. Here's Carl Gunnarsson. He's accepted to offer, or he's extremely happy to accept your offer. So that's good. That's exactly what I wanted in Carl Gunnarsson. We bring him in as our 6th defenseman, excuse me. So our defensive pairings are now set. We've got Hannafin at 89, Valimaki at 86, Giordano 89, Anderson 85, Shillington 79, and Carl Gunnarsson 79, with Nielsen as our 7th defenseman at 76. That's not a bad defensive core to start off the year. We can always improve it in the depth category, but this is not a bad way to start. And we got Carl Gunnarsson, who is a defensive defenseman. Again, we had no other defensive defenseman other than Travis Hamonic, so replacing Hamonic with another defensive defenseman, definitely important, I think. So I like the way our back end stacks up, and then we got Jordan Bington and Cam Talbot in net. So still nothing else, though, on the forward department. Again, Bennett not wanting to resign, so we're going to leave it up to these last few players that we signed. Here's Riley Nash. He's decided to go reject your offer. The contract is simply not enough, so he didn't like the fact that we came down. Nor did Nick Bonino. Casey Zizekas appreciates the offer. He's going to Carolina. So there's the 3 guys that we offered. So we'll have to go back in here and just continue to explore our depth options here. Let's go back to center position. Alright, so we'll have to continue to work at it. Again, Bennett's now asking for 1.9. So he was asking for $2 million. Now he's gone down to 1.9. So Bennett might come down. We have till December 1st with Sam Bennett anyway. So I think we'll hold out on Bennett. Let's focus on that final defensive spot. We still have 2.46 to work with. So what did we try Bonino? We tried him at $1 million. He's asking for 1.6. What did we try him at? 1.1. We'll go up by 0.1. We can do the same thing again with Riley Nash. Again, one of these guys have to bite eventually. No other teams interested in these guys. We'll go down to 1.1. We'll try, let's see, who else do we have here? Jankowski. These guys are asking for a little bit more. We can try Zach Smith. He's asking for 1.5 for 2 years. We'll go 1.1 with him as well. And, sorry, 2 years, yeah. All right, so we'll try 3 more guys again. And again, as long as one of them can bite, and then we can figure something out with Sam Bennett as the free agency goes on. So there's Andrew Nielsen. He was happy to accept the offer. So, okay. I don't remember offering him. I think this is the auto signing phase now. For some of these guys. I thought we had Nielsen under contract anyway. I thought we qualified, or we must have qualified him, so okay, whatever. That's random. We're about midway through July here, still nothing on our forwards here that we've been offering. Zach Smith has decided to reject the offer. Riley Nash rejecting the offer, and Nick Bonino to Edmonton. Crap, so Edmonton offering a little bit more money. I would take this offer for Valtteri Filppula because he would fill that 4th line center spot. Definitely, obviously not giving up a first, though. All right, back into free agency we go. So it's just a few forward spots we got left to fill, and then our team is set. Again, so Bennett's now down to 1.825, so he's slowly coming down. So I think we're definitely going to wait out on Bennett and see if we can get him down to anywhere around 1.5, then I'll have no problem paying him that. But he knows that we have control. We've got his rights as an RFA. So still nobody biting on Nash. So he is now asking for 1.5 still. We'll go 1.2. just slowly going up. So we meet him somewhere in the middle. Same thing with Zach Smith. I mean, when you've got as little salary cap as we do, it has to really come down to this this cat and mouse game. You know, you really got to be really careful with the contracts that you're dishing out, especially at this time of year. You really need to preserve your money. Again, now that it is after July 1, we can offer all of our guys next year that are up. Again, it's going to be a stacked year next year in free agency with Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Mark Giordano, and I believe Max Domi, all needing new contracts. So we can start offering those guys extensions. I think we'll focus on that in the next episode, but we can start making those offers as well. So we want to save money again for those guys. All right, so let's keep simming here. So here's a trade alert. Nashville and Philadelphia doing a bit of a trade there. Nothing too important, so we're nearing the end of January and still nothing on these guys. Zach Smith has decided to go with Colorado. Riley Nash to San Jose. Crap. All right, so we're not having any luck with these fourth line centermen. There's not too many guys left now. Yeah, not at all. Shoot. So there's Andrew Kopp, who's now 77. I don't want to go much lower than this. We can try Kopp. He's asking for 1 year at 1.125. Let's go 1 million for 1 year. Again, fourth line centerman here. This Boyd guy. The Kopp is still as a top 9, so I don't mind that. There's Brian Boyle. Try Boyle. He's asking for under $1 million for 2 years. 78. That's not bad. I could do that with Boyle. How old is he? 36. Yeah, we can do that. That's not a bad contract for 2 years. So we'll try 2 of those guys. And Sam Bennett's still at 1.825. So we'll try Kopp and Boyle now. Gotta get one of these guys here. So again, another trade coming in here. Not accepting any trades like that right now. Worst comes to worst is we can always trade for a fourth line centerman too. Matthew Phillips, extremely happy to accept the offer. He resigns in Calgary. Still nothing near the end here, and there is Andrew Kopp. So Andrew Kopp has decided to accept the offer for $1 million flat for, I believe, 1 year. That's not too bad as a fourth line centerman. I wonder about Brian Boyle though. Brian Boyle appreciates the offer, but he's decided to go with another team. He's decided to go to Grand Rapids. So maybe Detroit signing him to put him in the American League. We would have gave you an NHL spot if you would have signed in Calgary. So, okay. We do have our fourth line center now. It is Andrew Kopp. That's a better upgrade over Matthew Phillips, who was a 74. Andrew Kopp is a 77, I believe. So a slight upgrade. Again, fourth line centerman. I don't expect that fourth line to get too much ice time. I know we have a coach that does roll all 4 lines, but we'll try and really focus on somehow playing our top 9 a little bit more. So now we still have to get Sam Bennett done, as we are at the end of July. We have $2 million to work with. We could easily get Sam Bennett for that, as he is asking for even under that, but I want to get Bennett as low as we can. Bennett is now down at 1.6, so this is perfect. If we wait out just a little bit longer on Sam Bennett, he'll come down to close to 1.5, and I'll offer him that. So wouldn't mind even looking at a 13th forward as well, like a depth forward here. Let's go by all forwards. Still a lot of, like a couple third line guys out here still. Just looking here, 78. We got Gabriel Bork. Gets pretty thin after that. For a 13th forward, we could try Devontae Smith-Pelly for under $1 million. We could try this guy. Again, we're just bringing in a 13th forward. Andy Andrionov. He's a centerman. He's versatile. Let's try him maybe. 30 years of age, bottom 6. Asking for under $1 million. Again, he can play center. He's pretty versatile. Probably can play on the wing. He shoots. I don't know which way he shoots. But yeah, let's try him. I think I'll try a centerman over a winger as our 13th forward. So we'll offer Andrianov, and then we should be able to get Sam Bennett in here as well. So let's keep advancing here. Alright, so Valiev resigns in Calgary, not trading Dustin Wolf. Almost in August here. Another incoming trade. Andrianov has decided to go to Vegas. Crap, okay. That's right. We've got lots of options here to fill our 13th forward and see what Sam Bennett is at now. Sam Bennett's still at 1.6. He might come down a little bit more, hopefully by August. We can try Devontae Smith-Pelly again, under $1 million for 1 year. And again, he might grab a spot in free agency. If he's a right winger, he could be battling with Christopher Stieg, who's also our 4th line right winger, for that final spot there. All right, let's go out, see if we can get Devontae Smith-Pelly, and then eventually here's Sam Bennett. And then we'll end this episode here, and pick up the next episode in the preseason and training camp. Keep going here. We'll stop at August here. So Smith-Pelly has decided to come back to Calgary. He was on a PTO a couple years ago in Calgary. He decided to re-sign with the Flames, this time officially on a contract for just under $1 million, and become our 13th forward in the NHL. So that is good. We've got our forward spots filled out. It's just down to Sam Bennett now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up to August 1st, where we will, I guess, offer Sam Bennett a contract, and then so Sam Bennett down at 1.55, perfect, and we have $2 million to work with, so let's eat up that final 1.55 on Sam Bennett. That should give us, 0.4 in salary cap to start the season. That's not a lot of wiggle room, but we pretty much put ourselves right up against the cap, but not bad considering the team that we've got. Alright, so let's offer Sam Bennett that contract. He'll get back to us later, and we can even advance a few days to see if he does get back to us right away. If not, it might be closer to the preseason. Let's just see if Bennett gets back to us. We're offering 1.55, and he is extremely happy. So there you go. When it happens to be with what happens with RFAs is we wait out just enough because you have the rights. They really have their hands tied. You really have the upper hand in this. And we were able to do that with Sam Bennett. He was asking for $2 million. We were able to wait it out with Sam Bennett. So our team is officially set. The Calgary Flames are set for the 2021-2022 season. Again, we only have 1.33 to work with in salary cap space. A little bit more than I thought, but still not a lot. So the Flames are set. That is the end of free agency for us. We've got Devontae Smith-Pelly as our 13th forward, Sam Bennett back as our 3rd line left winger. We got Andrew Kopp as our 4th line centerman, and then of course we got Carl Gunnarsson as our 6th defenseman. Andrew Nielsen still as our 7th defenseman. But the biggest signing in this episode and in free agency for the Calgary Flames is they get a #1 goalie in terms of Jordan Binnington, 86 overall, and of course just 27 years of age, a former Stanley Cup champion, taking the Nets after David Riddick decides to walk to free agency and head to Carolina. The Flames end up replacing Riddick with a guy that's just 1 year younger and actually one better in the overall category in Jordan Binnington. So not a bad free agency for the Flames. We got what we needed to get done. That was the important thing. Now it's to get to training camp and preseason and start our quest for the Stanley Cup yet again. We are a contending team. We should be able to win the Stanley Cup. Will this be the year? We've got a decent team. Hopefully we can do it. So that will do it for episode 17. We'll pick up episode 18 in preseason and training camp. And like I said, in the next episode, we'll also look at the big thing is we'll look at trying to start extensions for some of those big names like Gaudreau, Kachuk, Giordano, and Domi. So we'll pick that up in the next episode, episode 18.